Good morning, everyone. We'll be commencing our service shortly. This is your 5-minute warning. Please silence any electronic devices, including cell phones. Our washrooms are located out in the hallway to the left, just over there if you would require a washroom. In case of emergency, please exit the building through one of the emergency exits. Now, of course, those are the doors you came in, behind you. As well, you can see by the lit sign there and there, those are also exits. We ask that you take your seats and that you clear the aisles in preparation for today's Remembrance Day service. That will be, as I said, starting in about 5 minutes. As a sign of respect for our veterans and those serving in the military, we would ask if you're able to remove your headdress, your hats, your caps, to please do that for the purposes of this service. All right, you have another 5 minutes. Enjoy the company of your neighbors, and we'll be getting started shortly.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this meaningful occasion. My name is Jack Van Ryn, and I'm honored to serve as your mayor. As we come together on this solemn Remembrance Day, we not only remember the brave Canadian soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice in various conflicts, but also celebrate the enduring spirit of our nation. Before I introduce our Master of Ceremonies, I wanted to acknowledge that we are gathered on the lands of the Blackfoot peoples of the Canadian Plains and pays respect to the Blackfoot peoples past, present, and future, while recognizing their cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationship to the land. The town of Coaldale is also home to Métis District 1 Foothills. Now I am pleased to introduce our Master of Ceremonies for today's service, Dave Schaaf.
Again, welcome to today's Remembrance Day ceremony. Today is a day that we set aside to reflect on those men and women in uniform, our Royal Canadian Armed Forces. It is a time to celebrate their past and their active service. As well, we would like to acknowledge our servicemen and women in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, those in community policing, our firefighters, the medical services personnel, and paramedics to recognize the services that they provide. Remembrance Day is a time to celebrate our veterans, those who have put on the uniforms to defend Canada's freedom, and especially want to commemorate those men and women who sacrificed their lives for our freedom and liberty. Their selfless devotion to protect democracy did cost some of them their lives. For this, we are truly grateful. At this time, I ask our veterans and those in active services in our Royal Canadian Armed Forces to stand and be recognized. Thank you. Thank you for your service. It is greatly appreciated. I now ask those who are either retired or in active service for the RCMP, community policing, firefighters, and medical services personnel and paramedics to also please stand and be recognized. Thank you for your service. We want to acknowledge that Canada is a nation of many cultures. These include our Indigenous communities, European Canadians, Asians, South Americans, and other cultures from around the world that have made this country their home. They have also put on uniforms to defend these great lands for our freedoms. It is so every person can enjoy liberty and live, work, and play in the peace. We also want to pray for those currently engaged in warfare and conflict, as well those that are enduring the suffering resulting from the wars in Ukraine and in the Middle East. You may have noticed that prior to the ceremony, the Coaldale Honor Roll tribute was playing. Our Remembrance Day committee would like to update this tribute with the names of those who have served or are currently serving from the Coaldale area. Not just those that served in World War I and World War II, but any others. We kindly ask that if you would like your name or their name to be added, to please contact Community Services Experience Manager Clayton Vargse. Clayton, just wave. There he is. He's at the back of the room. And Clayton would certainly appreciate any of that information, and we can update the programming. I would now like to welcome Deputy Mayor Jason Beekman to the stage for a brief tribute to the 80 years since Auschwitz was liberated.
Good morning, everyone. I want to begin by thanking each of you for being here today, veterans, families, and community members. Your presence shows the spirit of remembrance is still alive and strong here in Coaldale. This year marks 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz, a name that has come to symbolize the very worst of humanity. Over a million men, women, and children were killed there, not for anything they had done, but simply because of who they were. The liberation of Auschwitz in 1945 by Allied forces did more than end a chapter of war. It exposed the world to the truth of what unchecked hatred, intolerance, and indifference can lead to. The soldiers who entered the camp saw scenes beyond comprehension, but in doing so, they became witnesses for all of us. They reminded the world that remembrance is not only about honoring those who fought, but ensuring that such tragedy is never repeated. On this Remembrance Day, as we honor the courage and sacrifice of Canadian soldiers and our allies, we also remember the civilians, the innocent lives lost in places like Auschwitz, and the survivors who carried those memories so that future generations could learn. Their stories teach us that freedom is fragile and that peace must never be taken for granted. They remind us that our duty to remember is also a duty to act, to stand against prejudice, to choose compassion over hate, and to work together toward a more just and peaceful world. As we gather here today, may we honor all those who gave their lives in war and in resistance, and may we carry forward their legacy of courage and humanity. At this time, we will watch a short video that reflects on the liberation of Auschwitz, reminding us of the cost of hate and the strength of remembrance, lest we forget.
80 years ago today, a place of unimaginable suffering was liberated. About 1.1 million people were killed at Auschwitz, including about 1 million Jews. Beginning in 1942, the Nazis sent Jews there from all across Europe. When the trains, crowded with people, arrived, the Nazis decided who would live and who would die. Most were sent directly to be murdered in the gas chambers. Those not selected to be killed immediately were forced to perform hard labor. Prisoners' belongings were stolen from them, their heads were shaved, and numbers were tattooed on their arms. The combination of back-breaking labor, little food, and other harsh conditions in Auschwitz killed many prisoners. As Soviet forces approached and the Germans retreated, Nazi guards forced most prisoners on long, excruciating marches. A smaller number remained behind. While liberation brought an end to the Nazis' atrocities at Auschwitz, survivors would forever be haunted by what they experienced.
For so many, Auschwitz is a symbol of the ultimate expression of hatred. For me, it isn't a symbol. It was and is my reality.
On this day, we remember the victims and honor the survivors, while reaffirming our commitment to fighting anti-Semitism and hatred today.
It is at this time of year that we wear a poppy. I have a poppy on, all of you have poppies as well, and it is a symbol of the respect and gratitude and gratefulness to the veterans who fought for our freedoms in conflicts. This has been a tradition for the past 100 years, and it is one way that we then can show our respect for those that have fought on our behalf and have, as we had said, have sacrificed so much for our freedom. Please stand. This will be for the placement of the colors, and following that, please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem, led by Tanner LaPointe and Naomi Huber. You may be seated now. Please welcome to the podium Bishop Scott Harker, who will recite the Act of Remembrance.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Please rise. And remain standing for the last post, then 2 minutes of silence, followed by the lament, the ruse, and then the commitment to remember.
They were young, as we are young. They served, giving freely of themselves. To them we pledge, amid the winds of time, to carry their torch and never forget. We will remember them.
You may be seated. Each year, the Royal Canadian Legion sponsors youth programs. The Legion's motto is, "The Legion believes in educating our youth about the high cost of freedom." It is one of their most important roles. We must impress upon those young people who have never known war that freedom was won at the cost of many lives, young lives like their own. These students have submitted artwork to the Royal Canadian Legion General Stewart Branch No. 4 poster and literary competition. Jordan Verink from Coaldale Christian School at the intermediate levels poster, which is featured on the front cover of today's program. Savannah Hummel from Coaldale Christian at the seniors level poster, which is featured on the back of today's program. Amy Van Oini from Coaldale Christian at the junior level poster, featured inside today's program below God Save the King. And Nathan Berner from Coaldale Christian School at the intermediate level poster, which is also featured inside of today's program above the Act of Remembrance. And as well, they're on display at the back. Take some time to take a look at this. These are the young people that have given thought as to how they can remember, and to into the future that we take a different approach as to how we deal with our differences and not through fighting. Is Megan Dick here? Megan Dyke here? No, I don't believe so. Oh, she is. Wonderful. I hadn't. Great. Well, you're also from the Coaldale Christian School, and you achieved first place at the senior level in the literary contest for your poem, Remember Why. Please join me in welcoming Megan, as she is now going to recite her poem.
Remember Why. Dear Mama, when I left, there was a fire within me to fight. After 6 months of screaming missiles and swift bullets on the battlefield, that fire has turned to ashes. Instead, I have memories of home, or I used to. The sweet aroma of fresh-baked pies turned to burning bodies and blood. The eruptions of laughter turned to the eruption of deafening gunfire. The soft lights in quiet home turned to explosions of flashing light. No longer does the sunrise in the morning light the sky on fire, rather darkness covers the earth. Oh, Mama, I don't taste your meals anymore. All that's left on my tongue is death. Gunpowder, smoke, dust, fire, blood, all swimming in my mouth. There's an emptiness in my soul for the blanket of bodies, boys lying on the dirt. Mama, all I ask is that you hold my memory in your heart. I'm scared I might die today. Die every day. Please don't forget me. Don't forget about the small life I've lived, the people I loved who loved me. Please don't forget me. Remember, Mama, it's you who's the hero, not me. You'll have to miss me to know when I fell. Mama, please hold my memory high. But Mama, instead of remembering the day I die, just remember why. Love, your son.
As I was sitting and waiting for the program to start, I read through the poem And try and visualize what it would be like to be someone that is 18, 19, 20 years old and experiencing what Megan described in her poem. This is a reality, fortunately, we have not been experienced or have had to experience our youth to in a way as we saw in World War I or World War II. I would ask that when you have a program, take it home with you. And later tonight, read that again, but read it slowly and think, and try and visualize if that was you or your son or your daughter that had gone off to war. This is what we do not want to repeat as we remember. All right, we have another video that will be shown on the screen. This is a short video, and it is entitled 3 Survivors Remember Auschwitz. Again, in celebration that it is 80 years from the liberation. This is the stories from a couple of people who had been very young at that time.
I was 13 and a half when I arrived in Auschwitz.
I was 14.
2 weeks after my 13th birthday.
There was an announcement that we should go to the train that was on the tracks. They were rushing us, screaming, yelling, "Go fast, fast, hurry."
My favorite teacher was shot on the step because she absolutely refused to get on to the train.
We tried very hard to stay together as a family and hold on to each other.
We did not have place to sit. We were standing all along.
On the second or third day, when people started dying in the car, that was a relief. Dead bodies could be stacked like cordwood, and that created a little more space.
The doors opened and they started yelling, "Get out, get out."
There was the smell, this incredible, inhuman, otherworldly stench.
There was bedlam because they were immediately beginning to separate families.
2 SS officers were directing people right or left.
We children held each other's hands, we held our parents' hands. I mean, we're just literally torn apart. And in a matter of minutes.
I was separated from my mother. I remember my dad going up that way. I remember staying with my sister.
I had a younger sister holding her hand. A stick came down between us, and she was sent off. I lost her. I lost my little sister somehow. Before we were taken to barracks, we were processed, undressed, the hair cut, body hair cut. We came out looking identical. Sisters, mothers wouldn't identify each other. We were no longer people.
You're thrown some ragged, used, filthy, striped uniforms. You're tossed some shoes with wooden soles. Then you get into the barracks, and then life starts. And life was learning to die.
When we entered the barrack, minutes after we got in, a young woman was running towards my sister. She told us right away, "I want you to know that your mother and your siblings are already dead." And that was also a shock, but an unbelievable one. I remember rejecting it completely.
I just felt terrified the whole time. I was there, so scared, because they were looking at us like we were subhumans. They treated us like subhumans. They had all the power, and we were nothing. We were just...
That was the intent.
Yes.
One after the other, my classmates were dying of hunger, exhaustion, and just total mental and physical collapse. I was the last one.
We were next to a gas chamber and crematorium with just an electrified fence. We saw the huge numbers of people walking from the train past our barrack into the gas chamber. And often they talk to us. They call out, "Where are you from? And what's your name? And do you know so-and-so?" Minutes later, the chimneys were belching fire so hard that it was like a roaring sound. It was just unbelievable. It wasn't smoke, it was flames, like a wind. And we had just seen them, we had just talked to them. Little children carried by their mothers, pregnant women. And we can't tell them that they have a few minutes to live. My memory of Auschwitz is the actual extermination. And anything else that was good or bad cannot be compared.
It was a universe of its own. It was below the human understanding, tolerance, ability to absorb.
It's constantly with me. I just can't believe it that people can deny something that was so right there in front of their eyes. My story, coming from my mouth, cannot be denied.
It's interesting. Over the years, I've seen many documentary stories about the war, about the atrocities of what happened. But still, as you watch this today, you sadly reflect and you wonder, how is it possible that people can treat people like that? As she said, we were treated like subhumans. It's hard for us to even grasp or comprehend today how that could happen. But we have to be reminded of that. And the reason is really as we look to the future, that we would never do this again. That how we would deal with, we'll call them differences, how we deal with it is not that way where they went through a process of extermination. And I believe that's why we need to be reminded of it. As sad as it is and as almost impossible to accept that humans would treat humans like that, we need to remember and behave differently into the future. All right, moving on, we have greetings from our Member of Parliament. This will be a video greeting, Rachel Thomas, and following that, from the Government of Alberta, our Member of the Legislative Assembly, Grant Hunter, will also have a video greeting.
As we gather on this important day of remembrance, we honor the brave men and women who have served our country in times of war and peace. We remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms that we hold dear and enjoy each and every day. Their bravery in the face of danger, their willingness to stand against tyranny, and their love for this country must never be forgotten. Across generations, Canadians have answered the call to serve, leaving behind their homes, their families, and their dreams to defend freedom, justice, and peace. What an incredible gift to us. The phrase, "lest we forget," has become a cornerstone of Remembrance Day, a call to honor the fallen and reflect on their sacrifice. It originates from Rudyard Kipling's poem, Recessional, written just before World War I. His words were a warning to remain humble and to remember that true strength does not come from nations or armies alone, but from God, lest we forget. Today, the phrase, of course, has taken on a much broader meaning. It reminds us to honor those who served, to respect their courage, and to reflect on the freedoms we enjoy because of their sacrifice. Let us remember those who lost their lives. Let us remember the veterans who are still with us, many of whom lost friends in conflict. Let us remember those who are currently serving, standing watch to keep us safe. And let us not forget the families of those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. May we carry forward the legacy of these brave souls by carefully stewarding the freedoms that we have inherited each and every day as we live, lest we forget.
As the MLA for Taber-Warner, I want to thank you all for being gathered together on this solemn occasion. On November 11th, Albertans join fellow Canadians across the country to honor the brave men and women who have served and continue to serve our nation. At the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we observe 2 minutes of silence and remembrance of those who stood in defense of peace, freedom, and democracy. Those same values remain enshrined in the documents on the wall behind me because of their sacrifices. More than 2.3 million Canadians have answered the call to serve. Over 118,000 never came home. From Vimy Ridge to Juno Beach to Kandahar, Canadian soldiers have shown the world the meaning of courage and sacrifice. Today we also honor the families who waited, worried, and mourned. Their strength is woven into the fabric of our nation. Remembrance Day is a time to reflect on our past and renew our commitment to those who serve. It's our duty to care for our veterans, support those in uniform, and protect the freedoms they fought for. Let us teach our children not to just remember, but to understand and to honor our heroes always. As we bow our heads, may we carry forward their legacy, not just in ceremony, but in action, because freedom was never free, lest we forget.
For those that are involved with the laying of the wreaths, if you haven't already left, you need to go to the back to get organized because we will be at that portion of the program shortly. Thank you to MP Thomas and MLA Hunter for the greetings. I would now like to invite retired Lieutenant Colonel of the Canadian Armed Forces, Lindsay Fraser, to recite In Flanders Field, and then following that, from the 3rd Coaldale Scouts, Ethan, Nelson, and Remington Roth will provide the reply to In Flanders Fields.
In Flanders Fields by John McCrae. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks, still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw a sunset glow. We're loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the flow. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field. Thank you. Ethan.
Oh, sleep in peace where poppies grow, the torch your falling hands let go, was caught by us, again held high, a beacon light in Flanders sky, that dims the stars to those below. You are our dead, you held the foe, and ere the poppies cease to blow, we'll prove our faith in you who lie in Flanders field. O rest in peace, we quickly go to you who bravely died, and know in other fields was heard the cry for freedom's cause of you who lie, so still asleep where poppies grow in Flanders field.
As in rumbling sound to and fro, the lightning flashes, sky aglow, the mighty hosts appear up and high, above the din of battle cry. Scarce heard amidst the guns below, are fearless hearts who fight the foe, and guard the place where poppies grow. O sleep in peace, all you who lie in Flanders fields. And still the poppies gently blow between the crosses, row on row. The larks still bravely soaring high are singing now their lullaby to you who sleep where poppies grow in Flanders fields.
As with the poppy, the wreath is a symbol of our respect, gratitude, and remembrance. And at this time, we will commence with the laying of the wreaths. On behalf of the Government of Canada and MP Rachel Thomas, Constituency Manager Catherine Furukawa. On behalf of the Province of Alberta and MLA Grant Hunter, Councillor Bill Chapman. On behalf of Lethbridge County, Councillor Mark Sayers. On behalf of the town of Coaldale, Mayor Jack Van Ryn. On behalf of Indigenous veterans, Councillor Jason Abry. On behalf of bereaved mothers, Patricia Damjanoff. On behalf of the Canadian Armed Forces, Matt Burton. On behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion, Diane Reid. On behalf of veterans, retired Chief Warrant Officer from the Canadian Armed Forces, Brian Brown, and retired Lieutenant Colonel of the Canadian Armed Forces, Lindsay Fraser. On behalf of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Corporal Fraser McMillan. On behalf of the Coaldale and District Emergency Services, Fire Chief Clayton Rutberg. On behalf of the War Amps of Canada, Easton Priachuk. On behalf of the Coaldale teachers and support staff, Nicole Kaminsky. On behalf of 3rd Coaldale Scouts, we have a contingent of representatives from 3rd Coaldale Scouts. On behalf of Coaldale Girl Guides, we have Kim Camps, who is a ranger, Chloe Troxted is a guide, and Claire Troxted is a spark. On behalf of the 4-H Club, Madison Slingerland and Joelle Slingerland. Thank you to the groups that have shown their support and their participation with the wreath and the laying of the wreaths. At this time, I'd like to welcome back Tanner Lapointe and Naomi Huber for their rendition of Danny Boy. And following that, Bishop Scott Harker will read the benediction.
Summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. It's I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But when ye come and all the flowers are dying, if I am dead as dead I well may be, ye'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave therefore. I shall sleep in peace until you come to me.
Our dear, kind Heavenly Father, as we have gathered here today to pay tribute to those brave men and women that gave their lives so that we could be free to choose, they paid for our freedom with their blood. At this time, we remember also our Savior Jesus Christ, who also paid for our freedom with his blood as he took upon himself our sins and our hardships so that we could be free of them. Let us remember and always be grateful for these sacrifices. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Please stand. As the color party will now retrieve the colors, following that, please remain standing for God Save the Queen, performed by Tanner and Naomi.
Color party, attention, forward, march. Inward, turn. Retrieve colors.
God save our gracious
You may be seated. As we conclude today's ceremony, I want to thank the Town of Coaldale, their organizing committee, for their diligence and their commitment in putting on today's Remembrance Day events. It takes a lot of work to bring everybody together and as well to live stream this ceremony into the homes. It is important that all generations continue this tradition of Remembrance Day to honor the fallen and to thank those who have served and those in active service. At this time, the Color Party will be marching to the cenotaph to pay their respects, and I would like to highlight that last year there was a cenotaph dedication ceremony to commemorate the updating of the plaques on the cenotaph to include the Korean and Afghanistan wars. As part of our ongoing commitment to honor our veterans, the town is exploring new ways to recognize their service and sacrifice within our community. They're considering a project that would provide lasting public tributes to those that have served. If you're interested in learning more or becoming involved as this initiative develops, please connect with Clayton. Clayton's at the back of the room, or contact the town office to be added to their information list. At the end of this ceremony, if you would like to place your poppy on the wreath as a symbol of respect and remembrance for those who have served and sacrificed, you may do so. And at this time, I would invite you to join certainly the Color Party as they march to the cenotaph. This does conclude our service, but Remembrance Day is a full day. It is a 24-hour day. It's a statutory holiday. And we do this because of importance that we remember. And I would ask that you go beyond just this hour and a half that we have spent here today, and that you do more as to what else can we do to remember. For the Legion, it is important to educate the youth. If you have children, educate them. Do your part about that they understand the horrors of war and that there is a better way for us to solve our differences. As we said, we need to be thankful not only today, but other days. When you see a veteran, thank them. Ask them about what they do in their service, because this is not an easy job, and for many of them, they put their life on the line, whether they're in the military forces or whether they're in the policing forces. And we need to take this to be on just the 1.5 hours that we spend here today and the one day that we get off of work, but to go beyond into the rest of the year. So keep that in mind. And with that, enjoy the rest of your day, and if you can, join the Color Party as they head out to the cenotaph. We certainly encourage you to do that. Thank you for your participation.